All right, Colleen, today is our first post-observation after I was able to come in and observe you. And thank you for letting me come in. I know it's tough, especially a lot of the children seem to be easily distracted. You're not the only one. So I know that sometimes even someone coming in can be more of a distraction than you want it. Okay, so let's talk about your lesson. Let's reflect back on the lesson and how do you feel it went? Tell me what your thoughts are about the lesson.
I think it went pretty well today. I felt like he is getting the gist of asking and answering questions the whole time you read, before, during, and after.
Okay.
I mean, I do feel like the modification that I made with the sticky notes helped him.
Why do you think that?
Because I saw him as he was reading, and he saw the sticky note with the question mark on it. He stopped, he kind of looked over, and, then, of course, a lot of times I said, do you have a question? I didn't even let him, come up with it on his own, but, I mean, he did come up with questions.
Mm-hmm. So that was part of the things that you wanted me to notice, is if he came up with the questions. So there you go. What did you see your tutee doing, hearing him say or observing, that made you feel this way? And I think if I am correct, you already said that you noticed that he stopped and he saw the pink sticky note and looked up and kind of thought of a question. Mm-hmm. So that's how you observed? Well,
yeah, because that gave him the indication that, okay, I have to come up with a question right now. So I feel like he was it forced him to think back into the text. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we kind of did that in our pre-conference, and that's...
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
That was very helpful.
I think I think that skill just from observing, I think that's a skill that I want to use too, because I think it's a prompting without saying anything. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really cool. Mm-hmm. What do you recall about your own behavior during the lesson?
I did notice that I had to kind of stop feeding him so much. I felt like it. Mm-hmm. I feel like I give too much because I want him to keep moving and get it.
Yeah. I
don't know if I did that.
We'll talk after we're done this. We'll go over the the checklist that we talked about, okay. And then we can go over that. But that's what you noticed about yourself.
I did catch myself a couple times. I'm like, okay, so what did you think? Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to say, do you think this? Then what did you think happened, or why do you think that happened?
All right. So this is a question I got from my conference person, and it really made me think. What grade do you teach?
I don't teach anymore.
Okay, but when you did, what did you teach?
Everything.
Okay. When was the last time you taught the child that age?
A long time ago.
Okay. So, what you're probably used to is a different amount of scaffolding that you have to do with older children than you do with younger ones. Mm-hmm. So you may be doing exactly what he needs, the support he needs, with that amount of scaffolding. So, that's something my person said, and I was like, you know what? It didn't sink in until at the end. I was like, wait a minute, that makes really good sense.
Yeah.
So, just something to think about. How did what you observe compare to what you planned? So, what you planned, did you do everything that you wanted to do? Anything more, anything less?
I don't think I did anything less. There was one thing. I made him go back to the beginning, mm-hmm. and think about one of the questions that he had written earlier that he didn't answer.
Okay.
And I asked him, what do you think about that? And he wasn't sure, and I said, remember, go back to the beginning. And we went back and he mm-hmm. read it, and then he was able to tell me.
So why did you do that? Yeah, so why did you do that? What was your thought? What you thought, obviously it was a good strategy, but why? What were you thinking?
I wanted him to understand that, even though he didn't answer that question yet, even way at the end of the book, it might surface, and it's okay to go back and find bits and pieces that help him answer that question.
Great. Okay, as you reflect on the goals of your lessons, you've had time to process it now. What can you say about the tutee's achievement of them? Did he reach what you wanted him to do today?
Yeah, I think he did.
Okay. What made you notice that? What allowed you to believe that he accomplished what you wanted to have done?
When we were finished, you had left, but mm-hmm. when we were finished filling out the graphic organizer, I said, now, all right, do you have any questions that you didn't answer yet? And he read them, and he said, oh yeah, but he knew the answers. Mm-hmm. And he filled that out, and I said, you know, how do you think this strategy could help you when you go back into your classroom in September? And he said, I think it will really help me because it's making me think about what I'm reading. And he said, this was fun. Like, and I was like, surprised.
I wonder if it's because he got the answers. I wonder, like, because
maybe
he was
he
able.
felt successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said to him, you know, you don't always know the answer, but it's okay to go back in, and that was, you know, that was the thing that just came up without me planning it. But I told him we'll do more of that, and really basically just thinking as you're reading and asking questions will help you understand it better. So then at the end we did like a little exit ticket where I had to say, how does asking questions before, during, and after reading help you? And he did write, you know, it helps you understand what is happening to the character in the book. So,
I thought that was one of the things that you did in the beginning. You asked him, or said something like, remind me what good readers do. And he was able at the beginning to also tell you skills or visible things that they do before, during, and after. But I thought that was a really good way to prompt, like, to get him thinking, okay, we're going to do this. So that was something I was like, okay, that was really cool. I like that he knew it. You weren't just asking, he already knew it.
Well, we had gone over.
But you had gone over, but he is using that skill again. He's recalling it. So it's kind of like activating schema before he reads. So that was cool.
Now my question is like, should I stick with should I stick with questioning, or should I pull? I feel like I should pull back a little and go back more into schema and making connections.
What would be the reason for that?
Because I don't feel like he's always. Like, we think about, we make predictions based on the title, like we did that before. We ask some questions. During, we're asking questions and confirming our predictions. And at the end, we're kind of retelling and, you know, if there's anything else we want to learn, we think about that. But I feel like he needs to also understand that some of the before is also building schema, like pulling out your schema and applying it to the book. Like, I think he's doing it a little bit, but